All right, let's check out some of the comments from my top 25 free agents video and where I think they'll be signing in this offseason. Let's check out these comments here.
No way the Mets don't sign anyone.
Yep. Probably I dropped the ball on that one.
Nice vid. But the Mets and Stevie are gonna get someone.
Yeah, like I said, yep, definitely.
You really think Mets won't get one of those top 3 guys with a serious load of money?
Like I said, yep. Missed up there. Probably my mistake. Okay. Probably Mets will get somebody. Okay. Let's see what else you guys got to say.
So let me get this straight. The richest owner by a landslide is gonna come in and sign nobody. Trevor Bauer is going to the Mets, I think. LMAOO, the Mets sign no one. Crack is a hell of a drug. So I guess Steve Cohen didn't just buy the Mets then, lol.
I messed up!
You really think Mets won't get one of those top 3 guys with a serious load of money?
Okay, Mets are getting all of them. Mets are getting all of them. All 25 going to the Mets.
So Mets just got a hefty boost with their sale, and you are telling me no one is signing with the Mets? Face don't sign one of these guys, SMH, who now have the richest owner in all of sports.
Enough!
And he drives it into right center field, hit a ton. This baby is way back on here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. This is Eric, and today do want to talk about the Mets a little bit. I have no choice. Mets fans have been on me pretty much since day one of this channel, except whenever I actually predicted the Mets to win the National League East in 2020. Going into 2020, did my predictions, and I had no support on that. I don't know where the Mets fans were. No Mets fan was to be found at that time. Everyone just told me how stupid that was, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I was a bad pick. But anyway, then of course during the season, if you guys remember, my big supporters will remember this. We had live streams, pre and post games and all that. Mets fans came and absolutely trolled and spammed the chat and just ruined the live streams to the point that they were almost undoable. And so, yeah, we've had kind of a tough relationship with Mets fans so far. But I do want to say that I realized Steve Cohen just spent a whole bunch of money. He is the new owner. He finished off the purchase of the Mets, and so the Mets are expected to be ready to spend big money. What about the Mets? What about the Mets? What about the Mets? All over my comment section kind of convinced me, because I know you guys are knowledgeable. My commenters, you guys know this game, especially Mets fans and fans of other teams know y'all teams probably better than I know y'all teams. All that said, though, I never thought that the Mets wouldn't sign anybody. I just didn't have any of the top 25 in my particular list going to them. I do think they'll re-sign Marcus Stroman, somebody I didn't mention who could have easily been in my top 25. I definitely think they have a good chance to re-sign him, and I think he'll have a nice year bouncing back after not pitching in 2020. I think that the Mets will get him back. A few positions that they could use an upgrade as I look deeper into the Mets and kind of overlooked a few things. Number one, they definitely could use a catcher now. Wilson Ramos, he's getting a little bit older. He didn't have the greatest season in 2020, and that's definitely an open spot right there where they could definitely target JT Realmuto. And I even mentioned that the Mets would be very interested in JT Realmuto. I mentioned that he had mentioned that he's not too high on New York, not too keen on New York. Does that mean anything? These guys say stuff like that, doesn't really mean a whole lot. He could easily sign there with the Mets. Absolutely, that is a definite possibility, maybe even a probability. It would have made a lot more sense. I understand that. So definitely JT Realmuto could be on his way to the Mets. But a third guy who I did not mention in my video, and I will give the official prediction of this guy going to the Mets. I didn't mention him in my top 25, could have easily been in my top 25. Marcus Stroman could have been in, and James Mccann could have been in my top 25. Kind of overlooked him. Easily could have, maybe should have been in a top 25 list. James Mccann, great catcher right there. So if they don't get Realmuto, I definitely see the Mets signing James Mccann. This guy had a 360 on base for the White Sox last year. He hit 7 bombs in less than 100 at bats. He's got power, gets on base, great defense behind the plate. James Mccann will be a huge addition for the Mets. Now, obviously, they could always use pitching. Every team can use pitching, and there's no doubt about that. They could sign Trevor Bauer. But I just didn't see Trevor Bauer signing with the Mets. I don't know. Trevor Bauer operates a little differently than most. And, he signed that with the Reds. He signed one-year deals. He's looking for, I don't know what he's looking for. He might even sign with the Giants. Right now, there's reports the Giants are the front runners. Like, what? I made a video on that. So, I don't know where Bauer will sign. He could sign with the Mets, but I'm going to say the number 4, the fourth guy is another guy I did not mention in my top 25. And that's John Lester. He's going to be out there. I know he's a little older. And his ERA kind of blew up toward the end of 2020, but he did have some great starts to begin the year, and he looked pretty solid. He could be an option there. Maybe at this point in his career, maybe he's, a 4 or 5 guy. I don't know, but he had somebody who they could definitely target and maybe get for not too much money, and the Mets have a ton of it. So that could be a possibility right there. Just wanted to throw that out there as another guy I didn't mention on my top 25. 2 guys from the other side of New York, James Paxton and Masahiro Tanaka, are also free agents. Either or could sign with the Mets. It's an easy transition. They don't have to, make a huge move. It's right there in the New York area. So, yeah, those are a couple other guys who I mentioned. I had Tanaka re-signing with the Yankees. I didn't even mention James Paxton, so he wasn't even in my top 25. So, again, those are a couple other really good pitchers that are available. The Mets could sign them. Corey Kluber, Jake Arrieta, Cole Hamels, all these old-time, great starters who aren't quite in their prime anymore. I definitely see the Mets snagging one of those guys, maybe 2 of them, to really bolster that rotation. I just didn't have them getting one of the very top free agents that I mentioned in my video, but they could very easily, first of all, I could be wrong, and like I said, they probably will sign one of the guys I talked about. They probably will. I just don't know which one, but I will say they're going to sign some starting pitching. They're going to sign some names, whether it's a name that is not in their prime, like I just mentioned, Arrieta or somebody like that, Lester, or whether they get a prime free agent. Hey, I don't know, but I'm going to say, the 4th guy that I think is very possible is John Lester. Now, the last one, we have to talk about him, and that's George Springer. Obviously, a ton of teams would love to have George Springer. There's no doubt about that. The Giants would love to have George Springer. The Nationals are a team that could use another outfielder, and they have extra money. They may be able to get George Springer. There are a ton of teams that are going to be interested. The Braves, with Osuna going into free agency, with Markakis going into free agency, they could definitely be interested if they don't re-sign one of those guys. The Braves are going to be big players for Springer. The Blue Jays, also another team that was mentioned in my comment section, like who the Blue Jays getting. You didn't say anyone going to the Blue Jays. With going player by player, I just didn't think any of them would sign with the Blue Jays, but I could very well be wrong on that, and maybe George Springer signs with the Blue Jays. But the Mets are a team that need right-handed hitting. They have a lot of lefties. They could use another outfielder. They will definitely find a place for him. They have some decent outfielders with obviously Dom Smith, with obviously Jeff McNeil, J.D. Davis, Brandon Nimmo, Michael Conforto with great defense out there. But they could find a place definitely, especially with the DH possibly coming to the NL very soon. I'm not saying Springer would be the DH, but, you could DH somebody and have another spot for him. But anyway, at the end of the day, of course, the Mets will be heavy players for George Springer. And there is a very good chance that they get him. A very good chance. I was out there with my predictions. Like I said, I think I had Springer going to the St. Louis Cardinals, which is an insane pick. But it seems like every year, 1 or 2 of these free agents who are out there, and we're saying, where's he going? Mets. Where's he going? Angels. Where's he going? Well, which of these big teams is going to sign him? And then, boom. What? I really do think that I had Springer going to a team a surprise team, and which surprise team it was going to be, and I made a pick that I thought looked possible. But at the end of the day, of course, the Mets could easily sign Springer. But now that I've talked about 5 guys who the Mets could sign, I did want to say there's another way to get players besides free agent signings that I had in mind when I did my video, and that's trade. And I think the Mets will be in the trade market this offseason. And I see the New York Mets targeting some guys who would have been high in the top 25 free agents. And keep in mind, guys like Jackie Bradley Jr., but especially Francisco Lindor. Okay? The Indians have been pushing this guy forever. Like, he's been on the trade block for the longest time, and he never gets traded. Maybe it happens this offseason. And I think it will. I think that the Mets will get someone via trade. I think it's going to be Francisco Lindor. I think he's heading to New York. And I know, like I said, the Mets are set on a lot of positions. They have plenty of infielders, but they have some older guys, Cano and things like that, and they have some guys who are not going to be at Lindor's level. It would be an upgrade one way or another, and they'll move guys around. They'll figure it out. But you get Lindor if you can, or maybe they'll send one of these infielders over there in a package deal. I don't know how they're going to work it, but I think the Mets will be on the phone with the Indians trying to make a trade and get Lindor. And I'm not saying it's going to happen quick. This is something that takes time. Remember, we talked about Betts last offseason. I made a couple videos like Betts on the move, Betts on the move. I don't know, looking 50-50. He might be gone, he might not. And it happened. It did happen. And I think it's going to happen. Wait until maybe February, March. It's happening. It's happening. Francisco Lindor is on his way to New York. Mark it down. You heard it here first. Well, probably heard it somewhere else first because I'm sure I'm not the first to talk about it. But I think it is a very strong possibility. So all you Mets fans out there that are pissed off in the comment section, first of all, understand that I picked the Mets to win the division. So I was high on the Mets and y'all were nowhere to be seen. So I don't know where you guys were at that time, but would have loved your support at that time. Would have been really cool. And also you have some of your fans who have been, for no reason, completely destroying my live streams, and that was really rough. And so on behalf of the Mets fans, I would like to put out an olive branch and say I apologize that I didn't have any of the top 25 on my list going to the Mets. Probably was an oversight on my part. Having said that, I did work hard on that list. I just thought about player by player, who has money, who's going to be free agent shopping, who has needs, and who they're going to sign, and who's interested, who these players might want to sign with, and it just ended up that way. But having said that, Mets could definitely get any of the players I've talked about today. They could definitely get Realmuto. I think instead I have them getting Mccann. They could definitely get Bauer, but I think I have them getting one, maybe two veteran pitchers who have experience, who are really good and maybe not in their prime. That's kind of where I see that, but I do see them trading for Lindor. So I see the Mets improving greatly by getting Francisco Lindor, by getting a couple of pitchers like Lester or maybe Arrieta or other guys in that in that ballpark, and I also see them getting James Mccann behind the plate. So that's huge upgrades for the Mets. So of course I can and will be wrong on almost all, if not all. That's just how free agent predictions go. In fact, Robbie Ray's already re-signed with the Blue Jays, so I definitely missed that. I don't remember even where I had him going, but it wasn't re-signing with the Jays. So I think I had him going to the Yankees. So you guys have a fantastic day. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and best of luck, Mets fans. I hope you guys will join my live streams next year in peace to conversate and be part of the baseball talk, not to spam and jack up my live streams. That would be fantastic. Guys, I picked your Mets to win the division last year, okay? I picked your Mets to win the division, and y'all let me down. Come on. Come on, guys. Let's do it 2021 here. Let's go, Mets. Show me what you got. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you next time. And hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button, and check out my Patreon page, and check out all the other links in the description, my Twitter page, etc. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!
When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye-bye, baby. History's in the making at Oracle Park.